So now let's talk about the next section of it. That so these Sherpas met organized meetings coming from all over the world, and there were all kinds of diverse subjects like tourism, and climate action, and cryptos, and reform in the developmental institution, and so on. Financial related things were actually organized by the finance ministers of different countries who came, and Dr. Nirmala Sivaraman obviously organized it. And there also the Ukraine issue came, and therefore they had to give only a chairman's outcome, as it is called, summary. But be that as it may, this is all the diplomatic relations handling part of these things. And so let's briefly look at the issues which are identified, where the Sherpas have more or less agreed. And if there is some difference of opinion, it is stated there. And the heads of state, with the inputs from their own teams, can decide it. Now remember, a lot of delegations have come with these heads of institutions. The total number of 6,500 delegates who would be attending, and there will be 25 heads of state. It has been first of all decided by the Sherpas that the African Union with 55 members should be made a permanent member of G20 group, just like the European Union with 40 members is. Otherwise, European Union with 40 members and others mostly being European or mixed, maybe about 50 therefore European, still dominated the G20. So what's big news is that with Mr. Modi's efforts, the African Union will get inducted. Now, second is, as far as cryptos are concerned, they say the regulation should be made for cryptos, but it should not be legalized, which is a very good thing. Then we come to multilateral institutions. They say they have to be reformed because they are really not looking after the interests of the poorer populations and poorer countries. So we will see exactly what they say, or maybe there will be further meetings, because otherwise the IMF and World Bank will not get money, you see. So it's not that they will be doing a great favor, because if they are not helpful to these people, then National Development Bank, which has been formed of BRICS, will take a lead. Second. Now, third is in terms of climate action. There are some differences of opinion there, because Europe wants to push it faster. The voice of the global south is not heard, that you're talking about all these things about zero carbon and low carbon and all that, but we are really not responsible for it. Today you are talking today, what is there? Okay, and today also we are not same level as you are, but you have been doing this for 200, 250 years. You know, all the industrial revolution, all the coal-fired plants, boilers, this, that, furnaces have been throwing up this carbon and other emissions. And are we responsible for it? The European Union has become very strong, smart also. So basically what it is doing is, first of all, it has put a carbon tax. If, as per the climate action goals, you are not fulfilling them, then we'll put a tax on your things which come, because they are spoiling our environment. Who is our? And that climate tax will be used to clean up our environment. Now just imagine the richer people are saying that we are going to charge extra tax on the poorer people to be able to clean up our environment. But you do it with your own budgets. And they never allow others to talk about it. What about the accumulated carbon, which has been done over 200 years of your industrialization, which has spoiled the atmosphere all over the world? Do you want to not clean it? You're only talking about current carbon emissions, and they should be net zero. Now, which is where what is the issue which comes? The issue which comes is that earlier these goals were set up through the what was called the Paris Convention, because meeting was held in Paris, and that we will do it by 2070. Then further down the line, they said, no, we should do it earlier, we should have the targets till 2050. Then there are some targets Europe has set up for 2030. It is in that context that they're talking about the EVs. Now, fine, you don't have sufficient oil there in Europe anyway, so you will be. But what will you be making your electricity with? Coal-fired? Oil-fired, but you don't have oil? Or you'll be importing oil, and that is also pollutant. Or you'll do with nuclear power. It takes a lot of time, and you have control over the uranium resources along with Russia. Okay, so three things have happened. China, though, had said that voluntarily we'll reduce those dates to 2050, but you don't enforce it on us. Don't start charging us extra taxes and all that. So they are little opposing to that. The speed of doing this, Saudi Arabia has also resisted. Okay, so let's see what is the compromise which gets formed, and um, the cost of it can be both pricing and non-pricing. That means tariff barriers, non-tariff barriers, additional tax as they come. Today they are talking about carbon tax, but maybe there can be other issues. Now, third, therefore, is the mutual cooperation on a number of factors, and fourth, finally, the Ukraine war. So these are the main things which will come out of this G20, is to cooperate with each other, cooperate on climate, cooperate on climate, on the reform of the multilateral institutions, and the overall economic development. So it's in that context that the AU will also become a member of it, and the richer countries will therefore have to calibrate their application of spare capital in a different fashion. On the other hand, countries in the global south, like China, Saudi Arabia, UAE, are also surplus of capital. So today, Asia, Africa does not have to rely only on the Western world. So rest of it, we will see how the dynamics takes place and how the geopolitics plays out on it. Now, Mr. Modi, when he went for the ASEAN meeting yesterday, he was welcomed a lot, and he has basically talked about cooperation among the global south there, and that's many things they can do together, including creating logistics systems, different kind. Within the Indian Ocean Ring, you can create logistic hubs and so on and so forth. And then East Asia, same thing. Closer to us, we have that trilateral road planned for quite some time, which goes from Mizoram to Myanmar to Vietnam, and then can connect to Thailand. The ASEAN people also formed a kind of cartel of rice people, leaving Thailand out. That means Cambodia and Philippines, and there is one more country. So now the point is that this is like a inflection point. The issue of Bharat versus India has come up, and there is a lot of philosophy behind it actually. So we will be hearing lots of these things as Bharat now. Bharat Mandapam is the hall in which the meeting will be there tomorrow. It has 6,500 seats, bigger than the Sydney Opera House, which was the biggest earlier. So perhaps this is the largest hall in the world to be able to have a meeting of 6,500 together. And of course, city of Delhi is all decked up, cleaned up, and it will show what our managerial capability is for managing 25 heads of state and about 6,500 delegates from as many countries. So managing of that affair will give some kind of a crown of the leader of the global south to India, that is Bharat. Thank you.